In a city where everyone kept secrets, one woman's late-night ritual was about to be exposed. He'd followed her long enough to know she wasn't just cleaning tables. But what he discovered in that alley would change everything and leave him questioning who the real thief was. The wind howled through the cracked streets of East Side Cleveland, a forgotten corner of the city where neon signs flickered like dying stars. The air carried the sharp bite of early spring. Tucked between a pawn shop and a laundromat stood the Copper Kettle, a diner with peeling paint and a jukebox that hadn't worked in years. Inside, the smell of burnt coffee and fried onions clung to the air. And for 24-year-old Eliza Morgan, it was homier as close to one as she had left. Eliza moved through the diner like a shadow, her sneakers squeaking against the linoleum floor. Her auburn hair was tied back in a messy bun, strands falling loose from 16 hours of double shifts. Her emerald eyes, dulled by exhaustion, flickered with quiet determination as she wiped down tables, stacked plates, and refilled salt shakers. The last Customersa trucker and a couple of late-night straggler shads shuffled out into the night, leaving behind greasy tips and crumbs. It was past midnight, and the diner was hers alone. She didn't linger on the ache in her legs or the gnawing hunger in her stomach. Her thoughts were elsewhere in her mother Sophia, wasting away in their tiny apartment with a cough that wouldn't quit, and her 15-year-old brother Leo, who slept on a mattress in the corner, his textbooks worn from borrowing. Their father Marcus had been gone for years, taken by a cancer that devoured their savings and left them with nothing but memories and bills. Eliza had been the family's backbone ever since, working herself to the bone to keep the lights on. As she swept the floor, her gaze drifted to the counter where the day's leftovers sat, a soggy turkey melt, a cup of clam chowder gone cold, a few dinner rolls starting to harden. Most of the staff would have dumped them in the trash, but not Eliza. With quick, practiced hands, she scooped the food into a small Tupperware container, her movements furtive as if she were committing a crime. She tucked it into her faded backpack, glanced around the empty diner, and pulled her patched denim jacket tight around her shoulders. The kitchen door banged open, and she flinched. It was just Hank, the grizzled cook, shrugging into his coat. "You're still here, Liz," he rasped, his voice rough from years of smoking. "Go home, kid. You're going to drop dead one of these nights." She managed a tired smile. "Just finishing up." "Night, Hank," he grunted and trudged out, leaving her in silence. She locked the back door, stepped into the alley, and disappeared into the Cleveland night, the container of leftovers a secret weight against her back. Unbeknownst to Eliza, someone had been watching. A man in a plain black hoodie sat in the corner booth, blending into the shadows of the diner's last hour. His name was Jackson Reed, the elusive CEO of Reed Enterprises, a company that owned diners and restaurants across the Midwest, including the Copper Kettle. He wasn't there for the food head nurse to lukewarm coffee for an hour, but to quietly observe the staff of one of his underperforming locations. Eliza had caught his eye not just for her relentless work ethic, but for the way she handled those leftovers. Suspicion prickled at him. Was she stealing? Selling scraps on the side? He'd seen it before. Jackson watched her slip out the back, his sharp gray eyes narrowing. He tossed a crumpled $10 bill on the table and followed her into the dark. The streets were a maze of potholes and flickering streetlights, the wind carrying the distant wail of a siren. Eliza moved fast, her slight frame weaving through alleys with purpose. Jackson trailed her, keeping his distance, his boots silent on the pavement. He wasn't sure what he was chasing, proof of theft, maybe, but something about her tugged at him. A mystery he couldn't let go. She turned down a desolate street lined with boarded-up shops, then stopped outside a sagging building with a faded sign, Harmony House Orphanage. Jackson ducked behind a rusted dumpster, peering out as she set her bag down and tapped on the gate. It creaked open, and three small figures emerged, kids no older than 11, their clothes threadbare, their faces lit with quiet excitement. Eliza, a girl with crooked braids, whispered, clutching a patched sweater. Eliza knelt, pulling the Tupperware from her bag. "Hey, Maya, brought you something." She handed out the food, turkey melt, the chowder, the rolls, dividing it carefully among them. The kids grinned, clutching their shares like gold. "Thanks, Liz," a boy with a freckled face murmured. She ruffled his hair, her smile faint but warm. Eat fast, okay? Don't tell anyone. Jackson's breath caught. This wasn't what he'd expected. No shady deals, no profit, just kindness. Eliza stood, waved to the kids, and hurried off. The children darted back inside, the gate clanging shut. Jackson stayed rooted, his mind spinning. He'd misjudged her, and the realization hit him like a punch. The next night, Jackson returned. Same hoodie, same booth, same cold coffee. He'd barely slept, replaying the scene outside the orphanage. Eliza wasn't a thief. She was something rarer, something he hadn't seen in years. He watched her work her shift, her hands steady despite the exhaustion etched into her face. She smiled at customers, cleared tables, moved like a machine, and when the clock hit midnight, she gathered the leftovers again. Some routine, same quiet urgency. This time, he followed her with purpose. She took the same route, winding through Cleveland's back streets until she reached the orphanage. Jackson hung back, watching as she handed out the night's scraps, a slice of meatloaf, some mashed potatoes, a stale biscuito. The same eager kids. She didn't stay long, just long enough to see them smile, then vanished into the night. Jackson didn't follow her home. Instead, he approached the gate, knocking softly. The freckled boy peeked out, wary. "Who are you?" "Just a friend," Jackson said, crouching to his level. "Tell me about the girl who brings you food." The boy hesitated, then grinned. "Eliza. She's the best. Comes every night with stuff from the diner. Says we got to eat to grow strong. She's like a big sister." Jackson nodded, his throat tight. "Thanks, kid." He slipped the boy a $20 bill and walked away, the weight of Eliza's secret settling into his bones. The next morning, Jackson sat in his glass-walled office downtown, the city sprawling gray and restless below. He buzzed his assistant, Vanessa, into the room. "I need everything on Eliza Morgan," he said, his voice clipped. "She works at the Copper Kettle. Family background, all of it." Vanessa arched a brow but didn't question him. "Give me a few hours." By noon, she returned with a slim folder. Jackson skimmed it as she spoke. Eliza Morgan, 24. Lives in a one-bedroom walk-up in East Side. Rents late half the time. Mother Sophia has chronic bronchitis. Untreated, no insurance. Brother Leo, 15, in high school but behind on fees. Father died for years, ag cancer. She's been pulling doubles at the diner ever since, barely scraping by. Jackson's jaw tightened. "Anything else?" Vanessa nodded. "Locals say she's been dropping food at that orphanage on Cedar Street for months. Nobody knows why she started." He leaned back, staring out the window. Eliza wasn't just surviving, she was sacrificing, giving away pieces of herself to strangers while her own world crumbled. And he'd almost written her off as a petty crook. That night, Jackson walked into the Copper Kettle as himself, no hoodie, just a tailored coat and a presence that turned heads. Eliza was mid-shift, balancing a tray of burgers when he approached. "Miss Morgan," he said, his voice cutting through the diner hum. She froze, nearly dropping the tray. "Why, yes. I'm Jackson Reed. I own this place." He paused, watching her eyes widen. "I've been watching you." Her face drained of color, the tray wobbling. Didn't mean to take anything. "The food, it's just." "Stop," he said, softer now. "I know about the orphanage. You, your mom, your brother. I know you're breaking yourself to keep everyone else whole." She blinked, tears brimming. "How?" "Doesn't matter," he said. He turned to the stunned staff. "As of tonight, Eliza Morgan is the new manager of the Copper Kettle. Her pay's tripled, her mom's medical bills and Leo's school fees paid in full." A gasp rippled through the diner. Eliza's tray hit the floor, shattering a plate. She didn't move, her hands trembling as tears spilled over. "Why?" she whispered. "Because you're worth it," Jackson said. "You've given more than most people ever will. It's time someone gave back." A week later, Eliza stood outside Harmony House Orphanage, a bag of fresh groceries in her arms, not leftovers, but real food, bought with her first manager's paycheck. The kids ran to her, laughing, and for the first time in years, her smile wasn't forced. Sophia's cough was easing thanks to the medicine Jackson had covered. Leo strutted around in a new backpack, his school fees cleared. As she handed out sandwiches, she felt someone behind her. Jackson stood there, casual in jeans and a jacket, holding a bag of soccer balls for the kids. "Figured I'd pitch in," he said with a grin. Eliza wiped her eyes, her voice thick. "Thank you, Mr. Reed, for everything." "Call me Jackson," he said. "And thank you, Eliza. You showed me what matters." The kids cheered around them, the night crisp and alive. Eliza felt the weight lift, replaced by something new hope. And it was more than enough. Did Eliza and Jackson's story touch your heart? This is just one of the many powerful narratives we share on Tales of the Heart, where ordinary people perform extraordinary acts of kindness every day. Subscribe now to experience more emotional journeys that remind us of the goodness that exists in our world. Each week, we bring you carefully crafted stories of compassion, sacrifice, and unexpected connections that will inspire you to see the beauty in everyday heroes. Hit the subscribe button below to join our community of storytellers and listeners. Enable notifications so you never miss a new tale that might just change your perspective or brighten your day. From midnight rituals to life-changing encounters, our channel celebrates the moments that make us human. Tales of the Heart, where every story matters and every heart finds hope. Subscribe today and be part of something meaningful.